Ricken Financial presents Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement. Gerry Ricken and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin' with the Rickens.
Appreciate you subscribing to Kickin' with the Rickens. I'm leaving this in. I'm leaving this one in.
You better. It's because I was watching a show about soups last night.
I mean, literally, I have one line to say at the beginning of the show. I have one. Listen,
one job.
All I have to say is appreciate you subscribing to Kickin' with the Rickens, Redefining Retirement, Ricken Financial. That's my only job. RickenFinancial.com. That's my only job.
You had one job.
I can't even get that out. You know what it is? I chipped the back of my tooth.
Yep.
And it hurts so bad. It is like a razor blade in the back of your mouth.
So bad.
And then it's just like my tongue keeps rolling over it, and I can't go see my dentist. He doesn't have an appointment for the next couple days. I've just got it covered up in wax. Anyway, enough about me. Hey, guys. How are y'all?
Hey, what's up, Mark?
Hey, Mark.
Gerry Ricken, Heidi Ricken Provost.
It's okay. We're all human.
Hey,
that's
listen,
right.
We're all in this together. One big happy family here on
Kickin'
with the
That's
Rickens.
exactly right.
Speaking of family, you had about, what, 500 billion family members joining y'all over the past couple
We
months?
have.
Yes, I was, as everyone knows, a lot of the country has been infestated with
Cicada apocalypse.
cicadas this year. And I was reading an article recently about the cicadas in St. Louis, and it was by a scientist from the Botanical Garden in St. Louis. And they said they estimated that between the city and the county of St. Louis County, we had 500 billion cicadas.
I believe it. They were repulsive. They were everywhere.
But as of this week, you can't hear one. They're all
Gone?
gone.
We had none.
All gone.
Like, as you know, I'm down here just north of Atlanta, about 10 miles, 15 miles north of Atlanta. Had none. Maybe you'd hear them randomly, but nothing like the rest of the country.
Mark,
it was deafening.
I had a noise machine on in my office, like a loud one, and I'd be on calls and stuff, and I could still hear them over that. Like, they were insane. And one of them dive bombed me. I was leaving work the other day. I got in the car and I'm like, what the hell is that noise? And I kept thinking, I'm looking around. I'm like, there's something behind me. I kept opening the windows. And when I got home, I stood up and the damn thing came out of my dress. And I'm like,
Well,
great.
did he at least buy you dinner first or something? I mean, if he's
It wasn't the one making the noise, so it was the woman. And I'm like, if that woman left eggs in my car,
God,
please, please.
That's horrible.
That was also Steven's first thought. He's like, clean the car right now, get the eggs out of there. I'm like,
Clean
okay.
it, burn the car and throw it off a cliff. That's awful.
Yeah,
Not as bad as what you had.
I'm about to
Yeah,
say.
I was at Home Depot with Sheila, and we ran into one of Barbie's old friends from high school, and we were talking to her, and all of a sudden, in mid-sentence, one of them flew in my mouth. And I'm like, okay.
When we were out at camp, actually, we were helping the guy that does the big blow-up water slide set it up. And where he had the generator the week prior to us at a different camp, there were like 100 dead cicadas because they were all they're attracted to that noise.
That mating call.
They think like your generators, your lawn mowers, anything like that, they think it's a mating call. So they come to it, and they all went into that and died right there on the ground. It was kind of
unbelievable.
crazy.
There was a big pile of them.
So we talked about it a couple of weeks ago about people who are eating deep fried cicadas. So Gerry, how are they?
A little crunchy.
Good little protein.
That's
Not
right.
bad. While you had cicadas, I'm holding this up. We're on video right now. Can you see what that is? That I've got circled?
That looks like a hawk. Or
Are those hawks?
Yes.
What is
Eagles?
Yes, no hawks.
that looks like a hawk.
I've got a hawk's nest in my backyard.
Seriously.
Yeah, out of nowhere. And these two bad I mean, this wingspan.
Those are huge.
Do you have what size is your dog?
I don't have one. Thank goodness.
Okay,
Thank God.
Yeah.
You used to have one, and all of a sudden it's gone.
I was texting with my neighbor, and I was letting her know. I was like, look, we've got these hawks. And she's like, yeah, we've been watching them. And they're just flying around. They'll sit up on the fence post, and there's got to be a nest nearby. And of course, I immediately start, becoming Jack Hanna and start looking. Tell me all about the hawk lifestyle. And they say they don't harm humans unless you get close to the babies.
Yeah.
But they said they're good. They get rid of squirrels. They get rid of rodents. They get rid of snakes. But in old tribal folklore, they say that if hawks show up within your presence or in your property or within your life, that means a big change is coming.
Ooh, hopefully a good one.
I know, right? And I've got 2 hawks. So I'm going to win the lottery twice.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Twice. Or I'm going to have 2 gas bubbles, one behind each eye.
Major changes.
Hopefully no. Let's win the lottery.
Changes.
Let's win the lottery.
RickenFinancial.com to meet the team. Let's get to it here. We're going to piggyback off of a previous show. We were talking about the ABCs of retirement planning. We talked about an IRA, a Roth, a qualified account, a non-qualified account, RMDs. You're welcome to go check out last week's show to get more information about that. It's in the archive. But let's continue that conversation. We got a couple of more. Who's going to start? Heidi, you want to start on this one?
Oh, you raised your hand. Do you want to begin? Jerry,
no one
please.
Can hear that.
No one is calling on you, Jerry.
I
would love to call on you as an A+ student. Please begin.
All right, cicada number 1, you are up first. What do you have?
Yes. I would like to talk about Medicare.
Okay.
Medicare is a government-administered, not a government-provided, a government-administered health insurance program that we have all paid for. When we think about our earning years, we pay into Social Security, and we also pay a tax called Medicare tax. And
part of our FICA taxes.
Yes, it's part of FICA.
Mm-hmm.
So when and the amount of Social Security caps out at a certain point of time, and Social Security taxes that you pay in, Medicare never does. You just continue paying and paying and paying and paying for every dollar of earned income. So you fund this thing, and then the only requirement that you have to qualify for that program is to turn age 65. So at age 65, you're able to file and apply for Medicare benefits. And Medicare benefits, a couple of them are administered by the government, but then to supplement those, you also do some other things. But basically it's hospitalization, and
a drug plan. If you pay for it, through Medicare.
Yeah. So, but Medicare is very complicated. There's a whole ABCs of Medicare because
there might be ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of Medicare. Honestly,
exactly. I mean, it's ABC. it's Medicare Part A, Medicare Part B, Medicare Part C, D, G. There's all kinds of different plans. So, but when you talk about Medicare in its basic form, it is the government administered program for retirees age 65 or above who have health insurance.
Okay.
And in order to supplement that, you need to have some form of a Medicare supplement, which are an additional insurance that you pay for on a monthly basis, or you could use an Advantage plan, which you don't pay for on a monthly basis, but it gives you additional coverage so that you can cover all your bases. Because as we know, Medicare itself, through the government, does not provide all of the health insurance needs that you will have in your future.
Okay. And Medicare can be incredibly overwhelming and confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It is for almost everyone we meet with.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we do not specialize in Medicare. We rely on experts who specialize in Medicare, who do the right thing for our clients.
Sure.
So we refer that business to someone else who is really the expert in the field.
They can't take care of all your Medicare needs, but they can definitely point you in the right direction. All right, RickenFinancial.com, another ABC of retirement planning. What you got?
While we're talking about Medicare, let's talk about the term a lot of people bring up when we have our questions and answers at our seminars. What is IRMAA and how does it affect me?
And IRMAA is not your aunt that comes to Thanksgiving dinner.
No, this IRMAA has an additional A on it, actually. And it's income-related monthly adjustment amount. At the end of the day, what IRMAA stands for is how much you pay in Medicare premiums to the government. Medicare premiums are actually a form of hidden tax, if you think of it that way, because it's based upon your taxable income, your modified adjusted gross income from 2 years prior. So if you have larger income 2 years ago, say at age 63 and at 65, you apply for Medicare, what Medicare system does is they look back 2 years at your tax return, and that's how much they charge you with your IRMAA or how much you're paying in your Medicare premiums on a monthly basis from your income 2 years prior. So if you have larger income, you pay more in your Medicare premiums.
I did not know. Again, I'm learning every week from you guys here. And it was IRMAA. I always thought it was IRMAA.
It comes up a lot because a lot of people, when they're doing Roth conversions, they say, I don't want to convert too much money right now from traditional to Roth because they pay the tax not only in that time, but a lot of people are concerned that they're going to be paying more IRMAA. It'll increase their IRMAA or increase their Medicare premiums for a year. And that can be the case. But a lot of times, if you're only looking at 1 year, you need to look at the difference between that and a lifetime of additional IRMAA. If you have larger sums, you have to take out and pay tax on. So it all kind of works together.
Okay.
But
It's
IRMAA,
all back to that tax thing.
exactly. It's, you know what? It always goes back to that damn tax thing, right?
It does. It does.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about some of the ABCs of retirement planning, covering Medicare, just touching on IRMAA, some of your basic definitions. What's next on the list?
Let's talk about Medicaid. Medicaid is just a program that is primarily focuses on long-term care for the elderly. And you qualify for that either financially or non-financially. There's something called the Medicaid spend down. You have to spend your assets down to a certain level that the government says, okay, now you're poor and you can qualify for our program. So basic long-term care planning is Medicaid planning, and you spend all your assets down.
So if Medicaid is for long-term care, how would you, in the most simplistic form, define Medicare?
Here's the easiest way to remember it. Medicare is health care. Medicare is health insurance. Medicaid aids the poor and elderly. So many people we meet with get this mixed up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. I totally get it.
And they're always saying, how do we qualify mom and dad for Medicare? Well, are they age 65? Because they're already qualified.
Yep.
And what they mean is Medicaid. And, some people use trusts and whatnot to try to hide some assets. They have to be there for at least 5 years. There's a look back period. It's very complicated, but the most basic term is Medicare is healthcare. Medicaid is aid to the poor and the elderly.
All right.
And Medicaid also is provided by the states that you're in. You have to qualify based upon your particular state's specifications.
Okay.
That's right. And to qualify non-financially, you have to prove that you can't do 2 of your ADLs.
Oh my goodness. What on earth is an ADL?
Let me guess. Is it next on the list?
How did you know? An ADL is an activity of daily living. There's 6 of them. And typically, if you can't do 2 of your 6 activities of daily living, that's when you would qualify for some form of long-term care to step in. So your ADLs are going to include bathing yourself, dressing yourself, feeding yourself, transferring, which would mean like getting up and down into a chair, if you think about that, toileting, and continence. So if you need help with any of those, you're most likely going to qualify for some form of long-term care. ADLs come into play when we're talking about Medicaid, but they also primarily come into play when people need some form of long-term care and they have an insurance company stepping in some form or fashion to cover that. You typically need to have a doctor sign off on a piece of paper that says this person cannot do 2 of their 6 ADLs without assistance, and or they have cognitive decline. So that could be Alzheimer's, dementia, or just simple cognitive decline in your elderly age. But between the ADLs and cognitive decline, that's really how you're going to qualify for some sort of long-term care to step in and help you out. There's a lot of misconceptions about Medicaid too. And a lot of people think that Medicaid just provides any form of long-term care that is necessary in the future. But what it does provide is there are, thousands of facilities in every metropolitan area or in any area that you're in. Not every facility has the ability to take a Medicaid patient, but some facilities there's either Medicaid facilities where the entire facility uses Medicaid to fund the beds, or they will have a couple beds in that facility that are designated to a Medicaid individual, and then Medicaid will cover the cost of that. So Medicaid is really in the home care, not in your own home, but you're going into a facility to receive that care in a Medicaid bed. That really just means that the room is designated for Medicaid itself.
I think that's a good place to hit pause this week here on Kicking with the Rickens. A lot of great information, especially helping to define the differences, the nuances between Medicare, Medicaid, ADL, and IRMAA. It looks like we're going to have a part 3 as well, because there's a lot of great information to get out there. So thank you for this, guys. I appreciate this. And
oh, absolutely.
Oh my gosh, of course. And the other thing I'll share, this is a quagmire and you don't have to do it alone. So just give us a buzz and we're here to help you out, because especially when it comes to that Medicaid stuff, it takes a lot to figure out all the ins and outs and nuances. So that's what we're here for. Just give us a call and we're here to help.
As always, rickenfinancial.com to meet the team, see all the services and the contact information as well. We'll have that link here in the show notes. Before we get out of here this week, wrap this up for me. Every day
is a holiday.
Life is short.
Laugh hard.
So I butchered the opening. Let's see if I can get the ending right. Thank you so much for listening. This has been Kickin' with the Rickens, redefining retirement.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.